Welcome to the Thought Vault, where we learn to unlock our minds to live with more purpose and bold intention. I'm your host, Emily Vermillion. Take a deep breath and let's get started. Hey, sweet friends. In today's episode of the Thought Vault podcast, we are going to explore a thinking model that I've learned to practice from one of my coaches. This thinking model is a tool that you can use, and it will help you address the root of the outcomes in your life and the way that you are dealing or not dealing with the results that you've realized so far. This tool will help you reach certain goals that you may set, and it's truly changed the way that I think, and I think it can help you too. So let's get started. We all are unique in how we deal with life. Each person has a varying degree of how emotions and experiences are dealt with. I've always been a person who wears my emotions on my sleeve. I've always been able to express myself, what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, and while I'm inherently not a mean person, my emotions have gotten me into trouble a time or two, resulting in me apologizing for my outburst or sarcasm, and maybe you can relate to that. On the other hand, some of you may be the type that isn't sure how to express yourself and keep things bottled up in your mind, thinking and analyzing and stuffing until there is a breaking point in which everything builds up over time, and having that sock not picked up off the floor results in a flood of emotions, bringing back things from months ago. And then still, some people are in the middle. They are quiet most of the time on some subjects, but have a lot to say about a certain push point, and they address those subjects right away. We all are different in how we play our mental games, but we are all the same in that there's a sequence of events that plays out in all of us, and that's what we are going to analyze today. You may have a relationship or a work situation, maybe a physical goal or a mental roadblock happening in an area of your life that you would like a different outcome or achieve a different goal. And this model that we talk about today will help you get through those steps and make changes you need to realize to take in order to get the outcome that you truly desire. This model is called CTFAR in short, and the abbreviation stands for circumstances, thoughts, feelings, actions, results. So let's dive into a little bit longer explanation of each of these components. C, circumstances. These are the things that we cannot control. This is very neutral, just the facts. No adjectives, just numbers, just the actual details of what's happening. So for example, you may say to yourself, I'm overweight. Nope, that's actually not a circumstance. That is an opinion and a thought that you have about your weight. The circumstance is the actual number. Many things that we think are problems are not circumstances, but they are our thoughts about the circumstances. So we have to know and realize what that differentiation is. T, thoughts. These are the sentences that we say in our mind. These are the things that we're thinking, the judgments that we have about things in our life or things of the world. And we have control over these thoughts. We talk to ourselves, and these thoughts create our F, feelings. Feelings are the emotions that we hold in our mind about the thoughts that we have. And in this process, it's really important to narrow down to one main primary feeling about a certain circumstance. We only want to address one feeling at a time to really get this model to work in its full capacity. A stands for actions. These are the things that result from our feeling. If you think you're overweight, you feel overwhelmed about the effort it will take to change, and the action will be to not start changing a certain habit to get the result you want because you told yourself it's just too much. So, our actions are completely directly related to our thoughts and our feelings. R stands for results, the outcome of our actions, and our results are always confirming our thoughts. So think about that for a second. Thoughts are the drivers of how we live our lives and what are the outcomes. Going back to the example of weight, if you are thinking you're overweight, you're feeling overwhelmed and take no action because it feels impossible to make a change. The result is that you will remain overweight. The method of using this thinking model is to put your thoughts through that model. We've learned from previous episodes that we have control over our thoughts. Remember the power of our brain? And when we learn to be mindful and persistent with changing the thoughts that we have, our brains will begin to engage in a way that will result in the goals that we set. The reason why? Because once our brain begins to make new connections by thinking new thoughts, our habits are broken and we begin to transition our lives in the direction that enables us to achieve new outcomes. From episode 2, we talked about how every morning our minds have new cells ready to be taught. We must utilize the resources that God gives us each day by renewing our minds to do things differently and make progress forward. Make those changes in the areas of our life that we want to see different outcomes. By doing nothing and not working on changing our thinking, we live with regret. And remember, the antidote to regret is what? That's right, being present. And to be present, we have to consciously be thinking. Thinking the same way we always have will always leave us in the same exact place, not growing, not learning, not accomplishing anything different. Therefore, to achieve goals and live out life with purpose, we must think intentionally, focusing on the facts, i.e. the circumstances, addressing our thoughts about the facts, and adjusting those thoughts. When you can start practicing this method, you can literally change your feelings, which will cause a different action, resulting in a new outcome. That's the secret weapon. Let me repeat that process. First, you're going to write down and focus on the facts, the circumstances. Second, you're going to address your thoughts about the facts, and you're going to adjust those thoughts. Change them. Third, adjusting your thoughts is going to change your feelings. And fourth, your new feelings will cause a different action. Fifth, that new action will result in a new outcome. CTFAR is the acronym to put your thoughts through because our thoughts cause the results that we are having in our lives. Now, to change your thoughts is as simple as practicing a meditation or affirmation to work on believing the opposite of what you were thinking. And this is where I love inserting scripture to work on building a new thought. This is why I love meditative prayer, why I dedicated an entire episode to it, because it has truly taken this component of this methodical thinking model and absolutely made it insanely impactful in my life. And it has brought together all these little elements that I've been learning about my brain, learning how thinking can change the way I live my life, and really harnessing what my brain has the power to do. I really meditate on what does the Bible say? Who am I really? I am perfectly and wonderfully made. And by reciting scripture, praying, and meditating on the truths of Christ, thoughts shift. And because the true evidence of who I am is resonating in my heart and my mind, that's the secret sauce. That is the way that I have been able to get past so many roadblocks and really begin to feel present and mindful in my day-to-day life, making me find joy in my heart when my eyes open. And that's why I know that this thinking model can truly help you, especially if you're going through a difficult time right now or just having a rut. Maybe even you're doing things great and all that stuff, but you want to take it even further and get to the next place that you want to go and grow and personally develop. This method is truly going to help you. Sometimes changing your thoughts may require certain tasks to be completed. You can apply this model to every single thought regardless of the context. So let's say it's a work situation that you're struggling with. Maybe you are thinking that you are going to miss a deadline. And the more you think about missing the deadline, the less work you get done, resulting in you becoming further and further behind. Hence, missing the deadline. The circumstance is that you have a deadline of August 1st, for example, and you're thinking, I'm going to miss this. There's no way I'll be done by then. But the new thought must be changed to, I'm meeting this deadline. So in order to meet the deadline, you must get work done. And you pull out your calendar and you create the tasks that need to be delegated, that need to get completed at certain time frames, and you set checkpoints up throughout the next month to check in and make sure that you're hitting those. You have a plan. You have the feeling of accomplishment, and you know you are meeting that deadline. The result will take place. Knowing your thoughts about a circumstance is always the jumping off point. We tend to only look at the results, which if you look at the model, the results come after thoughts and feelings. So if we focus on the results we have now, they will always send us back to having those same thoughts and those same feelings. In order to have a new result, we have to work backwards and go to the thoughts. And in order to change those thoughts, we have to address the facts first, not our feelings. That's another entanglement that most people get in. We see the results, thinking about our thoughts, which spark a feeling. And if we go back to the same thought, the same feelings are always going to be there. So by not addressing the facts, or as we call them, circumstances, you can take an objective look at the thoughts. Don't get trapped in your feelings and understand that feelings are just a response to a thought. You can immediately change any feeling you're having by just thinking a different thought. You literally have the control over that. Philippians 4:8-9. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. What you have learned and received and heard and seen in me, practice these things, and the God of peace will be with you. We have power over our brains. And when we learn it's like any other muscle that needs to be trained, we can make changes in our lives that will help us reach personal goals or fix bad habits. Because God has given us a new life, and we can acknowledge the new life that He has given us. And we can live our lives for His purpose. And by now you know one way to do that is get control of your thoughts. Let me give another example of CFTAR. This example is a certain goal I wanted to change in my life and how I applied this to that and have seen a new outcome. In the past, I have always said, literally, I've always said this, I just have no patience. I was not born with patience. I have zero patience. I used to say this all the time. And so inherently, the fact that I would say I had no patience caused what? Me to have no patience. And let me just tell you, when you become a mother, you better grow patience, and you better grow them very fast. And, you know, in this season of motherhood, it is a lot. I have two babies that are only 18 months apart. They are now 2 and 3. And so they are becoming their own. They have their own opinions. They have their own demands. They have their own little expectations. And it can be very taxing and frustrating when they get taxed and frustrated. And I would find myself saying out loud, I don't have time to deal with this. I would literally say that because in my mind, I don't have patience. That's what I've told myself. That's what my brain expects. That's how my brain reacts to things. I feel like I can't handle something because I don't have time to deal with this. I don't have the patience for it. And so I was short-circuiting to, being very frustrated, yelling too much, sending kids to timeout when they maybe needed a second chance. And I was just operating from the mindset that I had little patience. And we can get in this habit of just simply short-circuiting to just quick fixes, right? And so I knew that this was just an area that I needed to let go because I did not like feeling high-strung. And when you tell yourself you have no patience, guess what you have? Or guess what you do feel like? High-strung with little patience. And so I didn't want to feel that way anymore. And as a mom, being present and being focused on my kids was literally the most important thing to me. And I knew I had to get control of this. So when I learned this model, I was like, wow, I could really change the way I'm responding to things that are frustrating, And so I just wrote it out. I literally wrote the circumstance that I thought it was that I have zero patience, but that's not a fact. That's just something that I think about myself, right? So the circumstance was that I have all the patience I could try to have. The circumstance was that I have no limit on patience. There's not some bank that I go and buy that from and I only have a certain amount. My patience level is limitless, right? And so then I started working back. So what are my thoughts? And, I knew that I would always say I have no patience. That was my thought about it. So I literally just had to begin saying the difference. I am the most patient mother. And so I would say that to myself and I would meditate on things about, verses in the Bible about taking, being slow to anger and, all that stuff. And so I would meditate on that and say do my meditative prayers over that and affirm myself that I have patience and all these things. And I'm gentle in spirit and all these just biblical things about being a person after Christ likeness, right? And so I immediately just had a turnabout and just felt so much lighter in dealing with my kids because I didn't have this ominous thing hanging over me saying, I have no patience, I can't deal with this, or I don't have time to deal with this. That's not true. I've all the time in the world it takes to handle my kids. I'm with them all day and I have that privilege. And so, this is the facts, right? And it has totally given me a new, just literal mindset of just handling my kids. And with 2 toddlers, it takes a lot, to keep them going all day and to meet all of their needs. And I find joy in it instead of feeling aggravated. And so for me as a mom, this is like one of the greatest gifts that God has given me is the ability to practice this method and really understand the strength behind it. So for me, this has been so big. So I'm going to repeat that process for you guys and you can take a note. Of course, this process I'll have linked in the show notes as well below. You can get to the, the show note page for this. But first, you're going to write down and focus on the circumstances, the facts about the situation. Second, you're going to address your thoughts about the facts and you're going to adjust those thoughts. You're going to begin to think differently and think different thoughts. And by adjusting your thoughts, you're going to change your feelings. And because your feelings will be different, your actions will be different. And because your actions will be different, you will have a new result. And as your brain begins to make these new connections and form this new habit of thinking, you are going to realize how your brain will see things differently in your day that tie to that goal. You will see opportunities and circumstances play out that are going to help you reach that goal that otherwise you wouldn't have seen because your mind was focusing on a different thing. And so therefore your brain wasn't even seeing the possibilities that you will now be able to see because you are literally making a new thought. You are making a new connection in your brain to see XYZ instead of the other thing. So this is just a wonderful model and has helped me so much. I mean, you can, like I said earlier, you can apply this thinking model to any context that you want. It could be any thought regarding and relating to anything. So when you're having this is what has helped me in using this method. When I'm having an extreme emotion about something or getting very worked up or overwhelmed about a situation, I immediately know this is a great thing to put in this model. And so I will literally just write it out on the side of the paper, CFTAR down the left-hand side, and I will just start filling in the blanks. And you will be amazed at how much more clarity you will have, how you will be able to diffuse emotions that you're feeling that are, just causing you a lot of angst or uncertainty, and even being able to process good things. Sometimes when things are in front of us that seem, too good to be true or all this stuff and you're just I don't know how to feel about this. Is this really happening? You can still put this through the model. So whether it's a really good emotion or a really hard emotion, either one, this is just an excellent thinking model to help you really grasp what is happening, being present, being mindful, and truly having actionable steps to help you with the outcome that you wish to have. So in order to wrap this up, I really love doing, you guys know, some type of exercise. And this whole episode was an exercise or a meditative prayer. So I really want to end this episode with a meditative prayer. And the one I chose to go through today, I decided to do a meditative prayer about anxiety because I think that's an overwhelming emotion that most of us can relate to having at some point. And this is just a great way to just ease all of that and put our minds in a good headspace. And hopefully you guys can take this model and use it today or, this week. And if you're dealing with something, start going through it right after this episode ends. So let's jump into our meditative prayer to calm ourselves and get us just focused on being present and being mindful and feeling just stress-free and relaxed, even if it's just for the time that we are listening to this episode. So let's get into our meditative prayer to deal with anxiety. We're going to calm down and get in a comfortable position. The Lord gives strength to his people. The Lord blesses his people with peace. Cast your cares on the Lord, and he will sustain you. Gently close your eyes, and if you're driving, I always have to say, don't close your eyes. But just relax. Even if you're driving, you can relax. Close your eyes. Allow a deep breath into your lungs and breathe it out. Relax any tension that you might be feeling in your face, in your jaw, in your hands, in your feet. Just think about releasing all the tension from your head down to your toes, softening all of your joints. Give your muscles permission to release the tension that you're holding. If there's any part of your body working harder than it needs to be, think about relaxing it right now. Just focus on that spot. Remind yourself that you are safe. Allow your hands to rest comfortably. Open your palms. These next few minutes are for you and God. To have a moment to be in prayer, to feel relaxed in his presence. Breathing in, breathing out. Continue to take in deep breaths, filling your chest, holding it for a moment, and then releasing it. In the Bible, we are reminded that anxiety occurs when we start to think of possibilities that we can't control. Matthew 6:25 tells us, "Take no thought for your life, what you shall eat, what you shall drink. Behold the birds of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much better than they? Which of you by taking thought can add 1 cubit unto his stature? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin." The Bible asks us to trust that things happen as they should. God will provide guidance when needed. With your eyes closed and your thoughts clear, focus on letting go of any anxiousness that you may be feeling. Breathe in deep and allow the air to sink into your belly. Trust that God's plan is guiding your path. When you exhale in your next breath, think about the anxiety literally leaving your body. Pray for God to help you release any fear that you may be experiencing. God never leads us in the wrong direction. Pray for those anxious fears to be replaced with joyful experiences through God's guidance. Remember that God relieves anxiety. We are never too helpless or too far gone. Breathing in and breathing out. Feel the softness of your face, of your jaw, your shoulders. Feel the sensation of your chest and your palms open, experiencing relaxation as you think about how God's hand is over you. You do not need to feel the anxiousness. You do not need to feel fear. Notice as you think of this how your heart slows down, how your mind gets a little bit quieter. Breathing in, breathing out. Pray for the fear of the unknown. Release this fear. With nature's effortless cycles as our example, we can trust in God's plan. The evidence is all around us. Breathing in and breathing out. Take a moment to just pray for relaxation, to overwhelm you, for peace to flood your mind. And in Matthew 6:25 again, take no thought for your life, what you shall eat, what you shall drink. Behold the birds of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feedeth them. God takes care of us. We don't have to have control. And as we complete this prayer, take this moment as a gift to remember who in your life has shown you by example how to fight anxiety. Some of these people are still a part of your life. Some may remain only in spirit. But honor them by leaning into your faith and trusting the evidence God has shown you. Let us carry this healthy thinking into our day. And as we take a deep breath, become aware of how relaxed you're feeling. Slowly blink your eyes open to reconnect with where you are. Remember what you are here to do. You can revisit this meditative prayer on fighting anxiety anytime. You can just go to the link in the show notes to listen to it. Show love to the Lord your God by walking in his ways. Shine on those today who are struggling, who are happy. Just experience this relaxation and help others experience it too. I hope that this thinking model is causing you to do some thinking and that you're feeling positive about how you too can get the outcomes that you want and that you know God is guiding you to. It is possible to make amazing change and amazing progress. You can break any cycle that you are in. It is so possible. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you will always be notified when a new episode drops. If you haven't, I would love for you guys to just scroll down below where you see these episodes and leave a review. It means so much, and it's like gasoline to the podcast fire, and it would mean the world to me for you guys to leave a comment and let me know that you find any of these episodes encouraging for you. And if you haven't already, make sure to follow me over on Instagram. You can find me at by Emily Vermillion. I love to get tagged in things when you're sharing them from the episodes. It means the absolute world to me, and it's just such encouragement. So please follow me over there. Also, I have an awesome free resource that anyone can grab. If you go to subscribe.boldpearls.com/unstuck, you will get this amazing little workbook tool, and it will be a great complement to today's episode because it really helps you dive into any area that you might be struggling with and will get you totally squared away on what steps you need to take next. And by using this thinking model, I know that you will get the clarity you need and have an exact action plan for yourself to get started and get moving in an area that you may be struggling with or wanting a different outcome or change going on. Until next time, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. Go live with bold intention, everyone. Bye for now.